Hi y'all, I'm Chase. This is my 2021 Harley-Davidson Pan America Special, affectionately known as Wichita. And today the video is, the Pan America is not what you think it is. It is not, and I know I probably shouldn't say this, but it is not an adventure bike. Yes, you can be used as one, but if you're the average moron like me, this is not an adventure bike. You'll likely get hurt trying to have adventures. But what it is an all-purpose bike. In fact, it is a touring bike. Yes, I know, that sounds insane. Who would ever think that this could be a touring bike? Well, pretty much Harley. They don't like to admit that it's a touring bike. In fact, it might be the best touring bike that Harley sells. Shh, don't tell anyone. Well, at least Harley doesn't seem to want to tell anyone. Yeah. Why do I say it? Well, it's 550 pounds. Well, 559. Probably a little more with my my bags and everything else on there. So, yeah, it's somewhere around 570, I'm guessing. But it can conquer anything you want it to within reason. Can you go off-road hardcore? Yes, you can. But my road is a perfect example of the average Joe and what he can probably do. My road is kind of terrifying, at least on a regular bike. And I've had everything from Sportsters to an Aprilia Shiver to a Ninja ZX 600R to a Dyna. Well, I had two Sportsters actually, and of course my beloved Alice, my Road King. But this road was butt puckering every single time on every single bike, because none of those bikes were designed to even attempt to go up something like this. Now, can you? Absolutely. I did it for a decade, actually over a decade. Yeah. Eventually I just got tired of it, and then this bike came out, and yeah. And this bike, it literally is the do-all bike. That's the other thing. It's 570 pounds. There are plenty of regular Evo Sportsters that weigh that much. So you get the weight of an Evo Sportster, which I will say is fairly stable on the freeway. But also along with that, you get, I'm just going to say what it is relatively decent sport bike performance. I'm talking probably the performance that you would get out of a 2010 sport bike. Actually, it's a little bit different. The amount of torque that this bike puts out, and it puts it out a little bit lower than the average sport bike. You don't have to rev it way up to get the torque. You get a little more torque right off the bottom end. So it's like a mix between a sport bike and, you know, a regular Harley-Davidson, but you get 150 horse too. Now that's at the crank, and I know you're probably going to get maybe somewhere around 130 some at the wheel. But believe me when I say, you will see here in a few seconds or a minute or so, yeah, this thing, it will it'll get it. But yeah, this is a really great touring bike. I mean, think about it. You have a full fairing. You know, there's plenty of guys out there that go out and buy a street glide or a road glide or something, and then they put the lowers on. Well, guess what? This comes with the lowers. Yeah. Which other bike, and how much is that bike going to be that comes with the lowers? Yeah, it's going to be more than this. Almost 10 grand now, I think. It's pretty steep to add some lowers. Plus, this bike, it'll smoke every one of those other bikes. I mean, just eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah. So you're going to have the fastest Harley, production Harley they make. You're also going to get, you know, the full touring experience, let's call it. Also, none of those other bikes are going to touch this in the twisties. None. Oh, remember when I said something about how it gets up to speed? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It let's just say that it flies. This is going to be the bike you're gonna get if you're looking for something that's touring and well, you want to pay the least amount of money and get the most bang for your buck. Maybe I should just title this video, so you want a touring bike, but you want to be able to do literally everything, or something along those lines. But this bike is that bike. The Pan Am is a bike that you can do anything on, but you probably shouldn't if you're an average guy like me. On the other hand, if you are looking for a touring bike that does everything very, very well, this is probably the bike for you. And a lot of people don't know that. Everybody looks at this bike and they see that Harley-Davidson has, you know, hell, I don't even know what you want to call it. They've made an adventure bike, but everyone doesn't realize that this is a very, very good touring bike. So, and Harley doesn't seem to want to advertise it as anything other than an adventure bike. And honestly, when I go into dealerships, it doesn't seem that, I don't know, they want to sell them, but they don't want to let people in on the secret almost that it's, and I hate to say this, but it's a better touring bike than the Road Glide. Yeah, I know that probably hurt a lot of people's feelings right there. It's definitely a better bike than my Road King was as far as touring, easily. The only thing that I've had that was a let's just say it a slight difference, the only downside that I've had as far as capability with this bike is between this bike and say a hardcore full-on touring bike, you know, on the touring frame, is that this bike, if you get a good enough gust of wind, you can get slightly blown around. Now, it takes quite a gust to do that, but it did kind of happen. On my Road King, on any other touring bike I've ever ridden, I don't think I've ever felt a gust take it anywhere. Now, granted, I had the same thing happen on a Sportster, and I had the same thing happen on my Dyna, so I think it's once you get over 800 pounds, it's pretty hard to move something. Or at least something that's smaller and aerodynamic and so dense. The weight is so dense. It's a small item that's very dense, so it doesn't get moved around in the air so much. Think of like a bullet. You know, like a 223 compared to, I don't know, like a 308. You know, a little 55 grain bullet compared to a 150 grain bullet. The wind isn't going to affect the 150 grain bullet as much as it will the 55 grain bullet, so. But I guess that's going to be it. Let me know what you guys think. I read every single comment. You will know that I read them. I heart every single comment because, well, I want you to know that, yes, I read your comment. Like and subscribe if you want. Click that ding-a-ling if you do subscribe to be notified of any new videos I'm coming out with. Stay stubborn out there, people. You know, life may get you down, but you just have to keep getting back up. Bye, y'all.